This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us this Friday, February 26th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, a controversial bill with a positive-sounding name, clearing a major hurdle. What critics have to say about the Equality Act. Construction at a major nuclear facility. We examine what Israelites are planning. A new movie takes us behind the scenes to explore what really happened when the Supreme Court legalized abortion. And a new way to perform how one school district is getting creative to get students back on stage. All those stories and more are ahead in today's edition of CBN NewsWatch. Want to begin this half hour with the Equality Act. It passed the House Thursday with a vote largely along party lines. The legislation promises fair treatment for the LGBTQ community, but critics say it tramples on religious freedom in the process. The legislation expands the 1964 Civil Rights Act by broadening the definition of protected classes to include sexual orientation and gender identity. Congressman David Saline, who is gay, sponsored the bill. Opponents say the legislation ignores religious freedom in many ways, including requiring doctors to perform procedures like gender reassignment, even if it goes against their beliefs.
Every American deserves respect and dignity, and it's important that the Equality Act become law because it will once and for all ensure that LGBTQ Americans can live lives free of discrimination.
Parents who choose not to subject their child to puberty-blocking drugs, cross-sex hormones, they could have their children removed from their custody.
The bill heads to the Senate next. The White House is pushing for its passage so the president can sign it into law within his first 100 days in office. President Joe Biden has ordered airstrikes in eastern Syria. A group of buildings in eastern Syria were targeted. Defense officials say the buildings are owned by Iranian-backed militias who they also believe are responsible for recent attacks against Americans in Iraq. Officials say Biden's airstrike could have resulted in a handful of casualties, but it was the least deadly option. Photos from the Associated Press show major construction is underway at an Israeli nuclear facility at the center of the nation's undeclared atomic weapons program. Joining us right now to talk more about this development is Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell. So, Chris, what's the history behind this nuclear site?
Well, Ephraim, it was established in the late 1950s, so Israel could be part of the nuclear family, certainly part of Israel's nuclear program. It was headed by Shimon Peres. He was Israel's former president. Israel, actually, Ephraim, is ambiguous about its nuclear program. It doesn't admit it actually has nuclear weapons, and right now it's estimated, experts, maybe about 80 atomic bombs they have. They've never signed the non-proliferation treaty, so it's they don't admit they actually have this facility and the capability of nuclear weapons, but that's sort of this ambiguity that they've been having for many years. You may want to ask the question, Ephraim, or some people do ask the question, well, what's the difference between Israel and Iran? Iran wants a nuclear program, just like Israel may have one, but the fact is that Israel's not threatening its neighbors with annihilation.
Chris, Israel has neither confirmed nor denied having atomic weapons. Does this construction give us any indication which way they're going?
Well, the other day we talked to a former top IDF officer, and he speculated. He didn't know for sure. This is a secret program. First of all, it might be because of safety. It's an idea that, this is an old program. It's a heavy water facility. We just don't know how long it can last before it really goes into some danger zone. And also security. Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah from Hezbollah has actually threatened this facility in Dimona. So it could be security, could be safety, could be a combination of both.
Chris, what can we expect to see this evening on Jerusalem Dateline?
Well, Ephraim, first of all, we're going to have a story about Hezbollah, what danger it poses to Israel. We actually can have a story about Saudi Arabia and whether or not they will allow a Christian church for the first time in their history. And we have a story that's really timely, Ephraim. It's a biblical feast called Purim. It celebrates how the Israeli people, the Jewish people, were delivered 2,500 years ago from an Iranian ruler. It's almost the same scenario that's playing out now 2,500 years later. So that's what we have on this week's Jerusalem Dateline, Ephraim.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. I want to remind you at home that you can see Chris and the entire Middle East Bureau on this station or on the CBN News Channel. It all begins this evening at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. This could be a landmark day in the fight against the coronavirus. The third vaccine could get the green light as early as tonight. Meanwhile, 2 military ships in the Middle East have been taken out of service because of the coronavirus. The Navy says about a dozen service members have tested positive on the USS San Diego. Several people on board the USS Philippine Sea might also be infected. The FDA is expected to grant Johnson & Johnson emergency use authorization for its vaccine as early as tonight. It's a single dose shot and has been tested against several variants of the coronavirus. President Joe Biden has been making good on his pledge to rescind the immigration policies of his predecessor. Tens of thousands who are in Mexico under former President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy now hope to make it across to the United States. CBN News contributor Chuck Holton visited El Paso, Texas recently and filed this report.
We came to the border because we thought they had canceled the MPP. We are all here waiting for Joe Biden to help us, all of us, Cubans, Hondurans, Guatemalans. We've been waiting for this day.
Afraid they'll miss a Biden amnesty declaration, many of these migrants have made the decision to try and cross illegally.
On the 21st, as soon as we saw Joe Biden was in office, we crossed the border to ask for asylum, but they threw us back into Mexico.
So we're right here on the middle of the international bridge between El Paso and Juarez, Mexico. You can see the barriers that they've got up here, which are different from the last time I was here, because they've had problems with migrants charging this bridge and trying to do like a bonsai charge and get across. So they have these panels of barbed wire with a forklift ready to push that into place and close off the bridge at a moment's notice. Up until this point, when migrants get caught by U.S. Border Patrol, most are immediately sent back, and the strain on the city of Juarez is evident as migrants try to survive here any way they can. This migrant center in Juarez has several hundred migrants from Guatemala, Honduras, Brazil, and Cuba. And they're seeing a big increase over the last several weeks since the inauguration as more migrants flood into this city, all hoping to get across into the United States.
What he is doing is creating a new crisis at the border, and one that will have a direct impact on both the national health crisis, because you cannot test everybody who comes across, and the national unemployment crisis, because all these people are going to need to work, or they're going to have to rely on public services provided by states that can barely keep their heads above water right now.
Visiting the border wall outside El Paso late one night, migrants could be seen moving toward a gap in the fence, hoping to sneak through. But this group was apprehended not by U.S. Border Patrol, but by Mexican National Guard troops, who are still operating under an agreement with the Trump administration to help curb irregular migration. After coming all the way from Central America, these Hondurans failed just a few feet from their objective. But with today's executive orders, very soon they may finally be successful.
We're ignoring the basic rules of nature, which is that you get more of what you subsidize and less of what you penalize.
From El Paso, Texas, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
Just weeks after taking control of Congress, Democrats have started investigating the role the media has played in reporting on the elections and the pandemic. Their target, right-leaning news channels like Fox News and Newsmax. George Thomas has more on the efforts to pressure TV providers to drop conservative outlets.
Some say there's a war brewing against conservative media, while others argue it's just another example of Democrats trying to censor viewpoints or political speech they don't like or agree with. On Wednesday, the Democrat-led House Energy and Commerce Committee held a virtual hearing on, quote, disinformation and extremism in the media.
When truth becomes a commodity to be traded upon for profit, and facts and consequences don't matter to those who report them, our democracy is undermined.
Before the hearing, Democrat Representatives Jerry McNerney and Anna Eshoo of California wrote letters to TV providers, including Comcast, AT&T, Cox, and Verizon, demanding to know how they plan to stop what they called the spread of dangerous misinformation from right-leaning news outlets like Newsmax, One American News Network, and Fox News.
Let me put it bluntly. Misinformation is killing Americans and damaging our democracy.
Democrats accuse the outlets of being a destabilizing threat to the country and functioning as rumor mills and conspiracy theory hotbeds with their coverage of the presidential election and the global pandemic. Republicans on the committee pushed back, calling the hearing an attack on the First Amendment.
Elected officials using their platform to pressure private companies to censor media outlets they disagree with? That sounds like actions from the Chinese Communist Party, not duly elected representatives of the United States Congress.
In their letter, Eshu and McNerney asked the TV providers to give their moral reasoning for allowing tens of millions to watch Fox News and other networks. They also asked if they'll continue hosting them, and if so, why? Jonathan Turley, professor at George Washington University Law School, was among those called to testify.
From the perspectives of free speech and the free press, the letter is not just chilling, it's positively glacial.
Dr. Frank Wright of D. James Kennedy Ministries knows what it's like to be on the receiving end of censorship. Earlier this month, the ministry's weekly Christian program was forced off Lifetime TV after it aired, among other things, a pro-life special.
The ultimatum we received was basically, your programming going forward must have all non-controversial topics in order to continue to air on our network. You know, if you're a biblical Christian these days, there's not much in the culture that's not considered controversial.
And the censorship is happening online as well with big tech companies. This past Sunday, Dr. Ryan Anderson's book, which challenges progressive ideas about gender, was pulled from Amazon's cyber shelves.
We're going to have to think through how we as conservatives approach both the governmental side and the big business side, because both of them seem to be hostile to people with traditional American values.
The House Energy and Commerce Committee will hear next month from the CEOs of Twitter, Facebook, and Google. George Thomas, CBN News.
Coming up, the case behind America's controversial abortion decision coming to the forefront. What the director has to share about the story of Roe versus Wade.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel. Now available at cbnradio.com.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Okay, everyone gather round for a team prayer.
From Superbook.
Look at him. He's praying. Maybe God's got a plan for me, making sure Quantum doesn't make the team.
No matter how others treat you, you should forgive them the same way God has forgiven you.
I am so sorry. I'm gonna teach him a lesson.
There's a time to get angry and get even. Superbook!
Join the Superbook Club and get Superbook Love Your Enemies. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of only $25.
Are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?
Jesus is going to be crucified to save us.
Get Superbook Love Your Enemies. Yours for a gift of only $25.
People who are against him seem so angry and fearful.
Yeah, and Jesus teaches peace and treating others with love.
Superbook Club members, free streaming for seasons 1 through 5 is now available.
The Supreme Court decision legalizing abortion is still regarded as one of the country's most controversial events. While there's endless talk about the decision, very little is known about the case behind it. The new movie, Roe v. Wade, takes us behind the scenes. Paul Strand talked to the film's director.
We will hear arguments in Roe against Wade.
I was really surprised that no one had really made a movie about the most famous court case in American history.
While Nick Loeb wrote and directed Roe v. Wade, he also portrays the doctor whose manipulation of information and lies about polls helped make the country believe abortion was more popular with Americans than it really was.
This is a conspiracy.
We found a girl in Texas. We'll give her a pseudonym. Call her Jane Roe.
Now they're coming after the unborn. So you're going to do nothing?
That doctor is Bernard Nathanson, who is shown in the movie eventually has a change of heart, complete with grief and guilt over aborting his own child and paving the way for millions of others. Loeb can relate.
I didn't wake up one day and become pro-life. That happened over time of me dealing with abortions that I had been involved in, and the realization that I had participated in the killing of my own children.
The writer-director says he didn't really set out to make a movie that could be labeled pro-Roe v. Wade or anti-Roe v. Wade or even faith-based.
We tried not to be preachy. We tried to go down the middle of the road. We tried just to lay out the facts.
These girls should not be put through the pregnancy and should be entitled to an abortion.
Doctors must protect life from the point of conception.
Who is speaking for these children? The main fact he hopes viewers get:
that life begins at conception. And if they can understand that there's a baby there, I think it can open a lot of hearts and minds and change folks.
This is beyond the authority of the Supreme Court. We are the law of the land.
After this weekend's world premiere, Roe v. Wade will launch on numerous platforms April 2nd. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Still ahead, CBN Sports Director Sean Brown explains what's next for Tiger Woods' golf career. We'll take a look at that story when we come back. Stay with us.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5, Wednesday night at 9:30.
Tikkun Olam.
This is our nature as a country.
To make the world a better place.
Literally, we felt the earth shaking.
The Christian Broadcasting Network presents To Life, how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
This film needs to be seen by everyone.
I was in tears.
Now you can own the inspiring documentary To Life on DVD.
There is blood on our hands if we know and we walk away.
I'm so grateful that this film was made.
To Life can be yours for a gift of $10 or more. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
we know that every minute counts to save life.
It'll bless Israel, but it'll also bless all the friends of Israel.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are making the world a better place. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com to get your copy today.
Pro golfer Tiger Woods is recovering after surviving a rollover crash earlier this week. He was severely injured in the Los Angeles crash. CBN Sports Director Sean Brown joins us now with more about the future for the golf pro. So, Sean, what does his future look like?
Hey, good morning. From right now, it's too early to tell, just because of the severity of the accident and the injuries suffered. I mean, reports are saying that he has a shattered ankle. He's got 2 leg fractures, and so he's had surgery. He started being treated at Harbor UCLA Medical Center in Torrance, but then was transferred to Cedars-Sinai Hospital for recovery. We just don't know right now what his recovery time was going to be. Add on top of that the fact that he had his 5th back surgery and was recovering for that with hopes of participating in this year's Masters, but obviously this accident has set that back. No, he won't be able to participate in that, but his recovery time is what we're waiting for. Right now, the most important thing is, will he be able to have a normal life is the discussion. And so right now, it's just too early to tell if and when he'll be able to get back to the golf course.
Praying for him for sure. How are other athletes responding to this news?
Well, his good friend and fellow golfer, Justin Thomas, did a recent interview and said that it just pains his heart, his stomach, just to see a close friend suffer something like that. And there's just so many questions when a person goes through that. You just don't know what's going to happen, what's their life going to be like. And so the best you can do at this moment is really just pray for him. And so also NBA legend Dwayne Wade also did an interview and said that he was with Tiger the day before the accident playing golf. And like so many other African Americans, started playing golf because of Tiger. And so he was talking about the honor it was to just be on the course with him, taking little notes, mental notes for his own personal game from Tiger. And he just said his prayers go out to him. Prayerfully, he'll get back to the game that he loves. And that's so important because if you love a sport, that's really what's driving you. And right now, obviously his health is most important. But if he's able to get back to doing what he loves, that's just a testament to how great God is.
Indeed, indeed. And I know his son is certainly hoping for that as well because he's being trained by Dad. So let us look ahead and see what we can expect this weekend on Going the Distance.
Hey, it's February, which is known as Heart Month. Valentine's Day has gone, but I had a chance to, I'm revisiting an interview I did with Tony Dungy and his wife, Lauren, that talk about having an uncommon marriage. Because you can celebrate Love Day every day, Ephraim, as you know. But I'm also talking with former NFL player Michael Ray Garvin about a new project he has, which involves sports, prayer, and faith. Sports, prayer, and what happens when you pray. And so I'm looking forward to that. It's called Playmakers in the Faith. I'm looking forward to talking with him about that.
I look forward to that as well. I want to remind you at home that you can catch Going the Distance with Sean Brown this weekend on the CBN News Channel. Saturday at 6:30 in the evening, Sunday at 7:30 in the evening. Both of those are Eastern Standard Time. Coming up, one high school has a socially distanced solution for getting the band back together. Wait till you see this.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
Watch On the Home Front today at 2:30.
Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
It's like a double punch. You get the COVID, then you get the hurricane. People have lost just about everything, business too.
There's been no electricity now for days.
We had to stand in long lines to get food for COVID and everything, and then this hit.
Pastor Jerry Snyder and his wife Hope partnered with Operation Blessing to host a food and supplies distribution at their church.
We're giving out fresh produce, we're giving out products that they need to clean, we're giving out food, trash bags, dog food, all the things that they need.
Thank you, Operation Blessing. Thank you, every partner that sows, that gives, that cares. We feel it right here in Southwest Louisiana. Thank you.
People around the world need your help. When you partner with CBN, you rescue children and adults from despair, and you give them a promising future. Please watch for this mailing and remember to send in your pledge. When we all come together to help, miracles happen.
Welcome back. We head to Washington State now, where a high school band has come up with a unique solution to get the high school band back together. They set up pods in the band and choir room so that each student can get inside, zip him or herself up, and remove their mask to play the instrument and to sing. They say it is a welcome change after spending an entire semester in online band and choir classes.
It definitely looks silly, but if you're actually experiencing it, it's so liberating that we get to create, because I would be so sad if we didn't get to do choir.
You may see those pods popping up at church. High school is currently rehearsing for their spring musical. They're going to pre-record the vocal track so students won't have to sing on top of one another on stage, making it COVID safe. Time now for your Friday Faithful. Today I want to leave you with this thought. Your work in God's hand makes the impossible possible. It makes a way when there seems to be no way. It's time for you to believe for it. With that word, I encourage you to make this a fabulous Friday and be sure to have yourself a wonderful weekend and do it on purpose. That is a wrap for this edition of CBN News Watch. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel. In fact, you can find them there at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today or any day. Feel free to email us. The address is right there on your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you right back here, same time come Monday. Goodbye, everybody. God bless, and make it a wonderful day.